Run the air. There it is. The fizz.
The can doesn't open, the show doesn't start. You know the rules by now.
The CO2.
All right, Mikey. We got a lot to talk about this week. We got a lot. We have
busy
two,
weekend.
We have two aneurysm-inducing Knicks barely victories. We have the NFL draft. We have the Yankees. We have the Mets. I guess there's a lot. There's a lot of New York sports things to talk about. Where do you want to start?
Baseball, I mean, it's just it's still going on. It's almost the end of April. There's not too much to get into that's different from what we've covered. The only thing I'll say is this is the time of year where you just can't. You start to see like the Devin Williams thing is an issue. They already started taking care of that, but it's just so early.
All right, so we'll start with baseball because it seems like you got some opinions there. Yes, the Yankees won 2 out of 3 this weekend from the Jays, and they should have won 3 out of 3. Sure, but Devin Williams decided to cough it up for the second time in something like 5 or 6 games, and he's been officially removed from the closer role. I think this is the right move. I don't know if we talked about this on the show, but I know I've talked about it with you and my other friends I have various group chats with, where I basically said, look, let's put him in some low leverage mop up situations for 2 or 3 weeks, see if he can find it again, see if he can figure it out. That's all there is to it. And of course, Aaron Boone doesn't listen to me, so he gives up 2 or 3 extra L's before he decides to finally effing do that.
I know. That's the Aaron Boone way. I mean, to me, what is the constant? If you look at the culture of this Yankees team, what is the constant thing? Aaron Boone. He's been here the whole time.
It's Aaron Boone and his very questionable bullpen management, which I could bring up specific examples of times where I'm like, huh? And I don't just mean the Nestor call in the last World Series. I mean other calls in playoff games. Yeah. He brings in starters in the middle of innings sometimes. That's the one gripe I have with him as manager. I like him other than that. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I like him as a person. He seems like a nice guy. And I don't think it's completely him, but I think him and the powers that be, the plan they have in place, we continue to see the same flaws popping up. The leaving runners stranded on base, poor defense. It's improved a little bit this year. It's
a lot better this year, dude. Cody Bellinger.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was at a game last week.
Yeah.
Where he made a diving catch to end the game.
Trent Grisham, yeah,
and Grisham is good. Dominguez, the jury's still out. We'll see
he had a good little streak there. Yeah, he's got to work it out. You got to play the long game with these young players.
So, I'd much rather have, as far as outfield defense, Dominguez, Bellinger, and Judge/Grisham than Stanton, Judge in center, and Soto in right. That's a straight up bad defensive outfield,
And then DJ LeMahieu's coming back. Were they going to stick him at third? Come on, what are we doing?
Well, and this is something that you just said a minute ago.
Yeah,
like you said, that the Yankees are stuck on kind of their old culture. And look, DJ was good 5 years ago. 6 years ago. But Aaron Boone, I already know what's going to happen. I'll tell you what's going to happen. He's going to insist that DJ is still a starter. Mm-hmm. He's going to play him 6 days a week. Mm-hmm. He's going to hit 170, and then he's going to hurt himself again and be back out by the middle of June. You heard it here first, kids. That's what's going to happen.
Well, Cabrera's been playing a little more. They kept him in the doubleheader, which was surprising. And what people have been saying is if you let him play or let these guys play consistently, they'll get better. Look at Trent Grisham.
He's about 300, Cabrera.
Yeah, so it's exactly. So, I mean, I don't want to be mean, but I don't think they owe anything to LeMahieu. But, I guess it's good to have an extra.
Well, they owe him about $27 more million if you prorate that contract at the end of next year. Look, here's the thing with DJ. I've said this many times. I've said this for years, both on this show and privately, which is that he is no longer a starter. He is a 2 to 3, 2 to 4 day a week sort of utility guy. He's the guy that when you want to give Goldie a rest at first, which is rare, or if you want to give whoever, your bad matchup third baseman is that day, or if you want to give Jazz the day off at second, that's when you put him in. He's not your starting third baseman. And it is absurd that anybody would still try to suggest that in 2025, but Boone probably is going to. So I'm already mentally preparing myself for him batting 7th. And like I said, hitting 165 with, leading the month of May in double plays before he gets hurt again.
I mean, what, they're going to take out Ben Rice to put in LeMahieu? Like the uproar is definitely not. So I like how you said, though, like you tell people, but even privately, you tell people this. Like I could see you just walking up to people on the streets of Manhattan and says, LeMahieu, he's going to come in. And people in New York, I know.
Well, anybody, whether it's somebody I run into at my job or a random person, if anybody asks me, I mean, obviously I have strong opinions on Yankees baseball. That's why we do this, that among other reasons why we do this show.
That's what's great about New York. You can just talk sports at any moment, at any time, and somebody will jump in the conversation.
If somebody's trying to mug you, you can just be like, yo, you see that play by Judge of the day? And they'll be like, oh, bro. And then, that'll be it. And then you'll be friends. That's how
that would be hilarious.
New York for you.
That's a skit.
So actually, that could be a really poorly written sketch comedy brought to you by the Nosebleeders. But all right, so as far as the Yankees go, we'll see how it goes. Let's keep rolling. The Mets. Now I have to eat my words, and Brian's not here to witness me live eating my words, but I have to eat. I was very wrong about a thing I said last week. I'm man enough to admit it. I said that the Mets played against all bad teams. And that once they started playing against better teams, they'd start losing. And then, of course, as soon as I said that, they literally swept the Phillies.
They swept the Phillies. I saw that.
Well, turns out I did not know what I was talking about, as usual.
I mean, that's our point of pride for the show. Is that we don't know what we're talking about. We're just going by how we feel and what we feel like talking about.
We go on vibes, man.
We go on vibes. So if you're going to say these two guys are idiots, you're probably right.
Yes. And please leave a comment and subscribe. Verbatim, say these two guys are idiots, and say the other guy is also an idiot. But yes, they did sweep the Phillies, and then they proceeded to lose 2 out of 3 and walk off fashion to the Nationals following series. So maybe I wasn't totally off about the Mets betting, but they're still 10 games over. So, we really don't have the authority to talk that much crap. Good for them.
Well, what's interesting, and this kind of goes to, it's, not entirely your fault, because even when you put logic in, like we just talked about the Yankees and our opinions, and when you put logic in place, even in baseball, it just doesn't happen. Like the Tampa Bay Rays got killed by the Yankees, and then what did they take? 2 out of 3 from the Padres, and they just got hot all of a sudden. So that's baseball, Susan, right?
Exactly. You can't predict baseball, Susan. Actually, I don't have the John Sterling that deep. You can't predict baseball, Susan. I don't have that. I don't have that deep announcer movie trailer voice that you need to do that kind of thing. But the Mets are they're still playing pretty good, and I need Juan Soto to heat up for my fantasy team. So Juan, if you could please do that. I know you watch the show, Juan, but
he's like, oh, it's on this week.
All right.
I never miss it.
All right, Mike, I know that you had 2 separate brain aneurysms over the weekend due to the New York Knicks and their 2 barely victories. And I know you have strong opinions because you were anger texting the group about this pretty much all weekend. I've been
look, I don't try not to make negative comments about the other team. I'll rip my own team first. But for the Pistons coach and the Pistons to complain that they were fouled on the last shot of the game, that Josh Hart fouled, I forget who the shooter was, whoever it was, it doesn't matter if it was a foul or not, if it's called or not. They've been playing such a physical game and getting away with so many fouls this whole series. And they almost, they got that ridiculous call when Jalen Brunson in game 3 shoots the ball, purposely shoots it so it bounces off the net, because once they catch it, they can hold it and run out the clock. It's not going to be enough time for Pistons to get off the shot. So he did the right thing. But the scorekeeper in Detroit started the clock when it hit the rim. He's supposed to start it when they touched the ball. And somehow the Pistons got the ball back, which wasn't supposed to happen. So the Pistons can go scratch, because if you're going to foul the entire series and call it just tough defense and borderline, and then complain that your final shot was fouled, when it was somebody posted a clip, Brunson was fouled trying to get the rebound on that same play. So I don't want to hear it. It's sour grapes. There's another game. You had the whole game to win, and they were up by 10 and they blew it. So too bad.
Yeah. I mean, there is a very strong hint of irony with the Pistons, who I'm pretty sure, if you were to total up all the NBA videos that we've done on this show, which there are dozens, I'm pretty sure they're the team that we've covered the most often, because they get into brawls throughout history the most often. Like, this is the team that brought us Bill Laimbeer and company. that you just the bad boys exactly.
Yeah.
Really, they're the team that's all of a sudden like, man, don't hit me. Like, come on. It's ridiculous.
Game two, and the Knicks lost. All I remember going around the internet was Josh Hart was fouled when he was taking a shot, or whoever it was. I thought it was Josh Hart was taking a shot. He got fouled. They didn't call it. So the Pistons got calls in their favor too. So I don't want to hear it. They're gonna complain and chalk. Oh, the Knicks got lucky and blah blah blah. Listen, the Knicks need to play better. That's number one, because they should be blowing this team out.
Well, you just said a second ago, rip on your own team first. I think you're right, because this team, they barely won those 2 road games.
Know
they can be down 3-1 just as easily as being up 3-1 right now. That's how this is, and it shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. And right now, they need to close it out at the Garden, because if they don't, they got to go back to Detroit, and then hey, who knows if they win that one? Then it's Game 7. So they got to close this next one out. Let's see what happens. I'm obviously rooting for him. I look forward to your all caps text that you'll be sending us, Mike.
During
that. Yeah, I know you're not a drinker, but no. I feel like this series is going to make you start drinking.
Well, I did actually when you guys came over, we tried to film Nosebleeders in my apartment after we lost the studio, and you brought little.
I brought tequila nip bottles. Yeah,
I just found them in my cabinet and I threw them away. So good thing I did, or I would be
threw them away.
You can buy new ones. They're this big. Give me a break.
Yeah, but Mike, you're so okay. The reason why I left those at your place was A, because I forgot them, but also B is because let's say you were out with a lady and you guys went back to your place, and you're like, then you can say the normal human thing of, hey, would you like a drink? And that you mean an adult beverage and not just the Sunny D and High C and or whatever crushed orange that you have in your fridge. I mean, an adult beverage. I can help you make a woman feel like you're a normal person. That was my way of trying to help a brother out. You threw them away. You threw away.
What girl am I going to bring back to? Look at this apartment. I'm not bringing.
Dude,
I'm going to her place.
I've seen way worse.
Okay, all right.
I mean, actually, that is the move. Try to go to her place, because it's probably.
I don't want anybody in my place. This is my domain. This is my sanctuary. I don't want anybody here.
I'm not going to dig into. You know what? I'm going to bite my tongue on that.
We're not going to go down that road.
We're not even going to. Nope.
I don't like people coming to my place. I want to go out. I'm here all day.
Let's get to the Giants, man. You can talk about the Jets next week. You're going to have Brian. I might not be on the show next week, so you'll have Brian to talk about the Jets with. I really didn't pay much attention to the Jets draft, but I did pay attention to the Giants draft. I'll say this up front. We're not going to go through all of the rounds, and there are such better shows. You can just go to giants.com and look at all their draft picks if you really want the breakdown that are better than mine anyway. But so we're going to go based on vibes. I'm going to say this. I really like what they did, and I feel kind of vindicated because I'm one of the people that towards the end of this past season, if you listen to any sports talk radio or look on any comment section for Giants fans, everyone is saying like we need to deport Joe Shane and fire Dayball and blackball. And I was one of the few people that's like, no, I kind of like Dayball and Shane.
Yeah,
I like this regime, and I was one of the few voices still sticking up for him, and I feel vindicated because everybody who follows this team right now is basically saying like, no, they did a great job on this draft. So you know what?
Seems that way,
kids.
Yeah, it's so with Abdul Carter, they got an edge rusher, which is something you always need. He already called Lawrence Taylor to ask if he can wear Lawrence Taylor's 56.
That's wild.
It's insane. I don't know if that was just like, let me give it a shot. I know I don't have a chance, but let me do it anyway.
Can't you just flip it, do 75 or something, or is that like
65? He was LT was 56.
Taylor 56. So could you do 65? Kind of, do because I know players do that.
Yeah. And then they got Jaxson Dart, a quarterback, who said he likes to paint eye black on his face because it's like Anakin Skywalker has the scar on his face because he's a big Star Wars fan. So that's why he put it there. So somebody was just making the point that we drafted a bunch of psychos, and I'm all for it.
I like that.
Somebody on Twitter said that. Yeah.
No, I like that. I want that we've drafted a bunch of psychos. I want, because especially with the defense we have now, when you add Abdul to that line, the defense is going to be good. The defense is going to be really effing good. And it's going to be fun to watch because the only question remains is, can Russell Wilson and company put down the necessary amount of points and move the ball forward to score at least a little bit? Because I'm telling you, the defense is going to be good. And I like that they're psychos, like you said, Mike, because if the defense is actually good, and say this team manages to put up 17 points a game, or heaven forbid, 20 points a game, which is something they haven't done in I don't know how many years at this point. Hey, the Meadowlands might actually be a place that teams don't want to go to, rather than looking at it on the schedule and going like, "Oh, that's our week off."
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. That's our easy job. No, I don't think the team's going to be significantly better this next year because in terms of record, because the schedule is brutal. And we can do a prediction thing in a few months, Mike, where we go down and talk about like, can we win that game? Yeah. There's a good chance that they only win like one or zero road game or home games rather this coming year. So there is that. But no, I think the defense is going to be actually something teams do fear a little bit finally.
I hope so, and I hope that because they had such young players, they're a little seasoned now, coming in, they have a little more experience, to be more prepared. We see that with the Yankees. Their younger guys are starting to get better because now they're a little more seasoned, so we hope the experience is another a factor in their improvement. I like what they drafted. Let's see. The question I have is, if Russell Wilson is down and Jameis Winston is down, do they go to Jaxson Dart, or do they keep Tommy Cutlets around?
Do
they keep him around? But I mean, do they keep him around?
Didn't they sign him to like a bullshit deal, or is he on the practice squad? I don't even know.
I'm surprised he's still on the team, to be honest with you. But I wonder if they treat Jaxson Dart with kid gloves and say, "You're not ready yet, kid."
I think if it's the first half of the season, you go with Cutlets because he's been there already. But if it's let's say it's like week 13 or 14, 15, and he's been kind of, he's been practicing with the team for several months, and he knows the system. And look, the Giants are probably going to be out of it. Well, you know what? Yeah, screw it. The last 3 weeks, last month of the season, let him play, see what happens.
Yeah, that's definitely.
I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think they should, but I'm saying I can see that scenario happening where they get too brainy about it and go, "Oh no, I don't know if Jackson's ready."
If it's the first 2 months, 3 months, then I think they do Cutlet or another emergency thing. I mean, look, let's face it. Tommy Cutlet was just a guy that they found at like a Costco the day before the game, and they're like, "Hey, look, you look like you can play quarterback, and you're a local Italian kid. Get in there." Like that's, he was like the emergency fill-in. And he might still be.
He was in the practice squad, and
he might still be. I hope they keep him on the practice squad because, by the way, practice squad, they get paid a lot of money. I don't know if you know that, but I know a couple guys who tried out for practice squads. Well, 10 years ago, I know that I don't know if it's per team or for the league rule, but I know that it was like, I think it's like $300,000 a year or something if you're a practice squad. Like, it's not a cheap thing, because remember, you're still beating your body up the way an NFL player does, but you're getting none of the glory and none of the endorsement deals. So like, it pays pretty well.
Sounds pretty
good. Well, you have to make the team though. That's the thing. You have to be someone who is like just shy of NFL level of talent of football.
Right.
And there aren't that many guys who can play in the NFL, and there aren't really that many more guys who can play in a practice squad. So it's that's how it goes. It's like AAA for football. It's like if the right people get hurt, you do get to go to the show.
Right. Essentially, it is. Yeah, it is. That's a good way of putting it. It is AAA for football.
Your question though, I do think that, again, if we get multiple injuries in the first, like let's say Russell Wilson pulls an Aaron Rodgers and gets hurt in the first 8 minutes of the and then the other guy whatever goes down. You might see Cutlets for a couple games.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, are they going to hold on? Because I'm just wondering, are they even going to hold on to him, or I mean, you could be like the Browns, who has 5 quarterbacks, and we know that Shador is going to start by week 3 anyway. So it's all that waiting for nothing. But
I don't know, man. I think. Again, I think Flacco. I'm glad that they gave Flacco that respect signing, because he's the guy that when the other 5 guys got hurt a few years ago, he carried them into the playoffs. He did. So good for him. Good for them.
Come through guy.
I like the city of Cleveland. I hope that they have a decent team at some point. Anyway, let's get to the reactionary part of the show. I think we've covered everything we've needed to cover. So we've got. I know we have some fun videos today. Which one do you?
We have. So we have 2 commercials, and then we have a video that you found that this occurred today. I think we'll do this one first.
Okay.
A certain Eagles team visited the White House, and a certain somebody had some smack talk or something to say about the Giants. I didn't watch this yet, but I think I know what it's about. So let's take a look.
Oh no, this is great.
And this is from, I think, the New York Post. So let's take a look at this.
Season started off slow, but you soon caught fire with your great coach inspiring you, and you got the ball to your superstar running back, who I met yesterday. And I want to tell you, he's a handsome guy, but I wouldn't want to tackle him. Saquon Barkley. Where's Saquon? He's great. I got to know him a little bit. I offered him a ride on Air Force One because I was coming down. And usually they say, no, I don't think so. He said, I'll take it, sir. And he loved it. And we love being together. He's a great young guy. I have to tell you something. I was with the Giants and the head coach and some people, and I said, do anything you have to, but don't lose Saquon. They lost Saquon. That was not good. I called that one. That was an easy one to call because he played damn well for the Giants. I can tell you that. But he made the right decision because it is a team sport, and there's great people in this team.
So,
all right. Look, I'll say this.
What are we going to do first here?
Okay, the handsome comment threw me off a little bit. We got to talk about that first.
Yeah.
Of all the adjectives that he could have gone with.
Yeah.
He could have gone with, he's a hardworking young man. He's a bright young man. He could have even gone with, he's a muscular young man. It went sort of gay, but he went handsome, also kind of gay.
He fawned over him like he fawns over his own daughter.
It was a little strange.
He wanted to hug him.
He did the thing, or it looked like he went for the hug. I think that he didn't. He ultimately pulled back because I don't think his supporters would have been okay with him hugging a black person on live television.
Stephen Miller would have got upset. We can't
Miller would have resigned instantly. Look, I'll say this. We're not a political show, but once in a while, obviously, it comes up because sports and politics do sometimes get woven in. Trump's wrong about a lot of things, but about that assessment, he was correct. I will absolutely, I can't disagree. He's correct.
The Giants should have got rid of him. They probably shouldn't have drafted him. You could take it back that far. That was Gettleman's stupidity. But not that Saquon was a bad player, but it was like, what are you going to do with a running back? You don't even have a quarterback. So it was just putting Saquon in a bad spot.
There's a parallel universe, Mike, where they franchised Jones and paid Saquon, and we have Saquon with Neighbor. Actually, look, so if we would have taken him, they might not have gotten the third pick this past year and gotten Abdul, but still, there's a parallel universe where he's still on the team, and Jones is the one who's playing for the Raiders or whatever. But
anytime I hear Trump speak, all I think of is people impersonating him. So that's all I see is just Trump impersonators, and it's like you can't even hear the real person anymore because it just sounds like an impersonation.
Well, and the thing is too is that the fact that he had such a strong opinion on roster moves of the Giants is very funny.
He's a New Yorker,
I know, but it's almost like a parody of itself at this point, right?
Right.
It's like this is what the president of the United States is spending his time thinking about. Like he's not thinking about trade deals or any type of military operation. He's mad at Joe Shane for not paying Saquon. Look, I'll give him credit. The man does know his sports. I've seen him talk about baseball a few times, and he actually knows his ball. And again, what's the old expression? A broken clock is right. Like I disagree with him. Obviously, we're New York educated liberals, East Coast elite, whatever, blah 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 blah. But I give the man credit. When he talks sports, he mostly knows what he's talking about. Yeah. So I can't crap on him too bad for that.
But to counter what you're saying, there was a report that went out today from Front Office Sports that said the following. Okay. Exclusive. Donald Trump's conversation with Giants about not letting Saquon Barkley walk never happened, the team told FOS. During the Eagles' White House visit, the president said he gave the team the advice while he was with the Giants and the head coach and some people. So apparently Trump has lied again. The conversation never happened. It's all in his ego and it's all in his mind. You know, maybe he was joking because, you know, I was joking. That's what he always says. So
here's the thing. Again, I don't really agree with that man that often, but I've never wanted one of his bullshit stories to be true more than I've wanted this one to be true. You know, like, it's gotta.
Yeah. When your team, when you lose the top running back in the sport and he goes to your arch rival and they win the Super Bowl with him and he has a career year, you kind of want to stick it to your team. So that's saying a lot when you have people who hate Trump or like, you know, Trump's kind of right.
Now I kind of understand his supporters a little bit. I do, because like you see something that's objectively false, and it's been debunked and verifiably not true, but you're still like, I'm just gonna choose to believe it because this is the reality that I want to live in. You know,
he's like
that's
all vibes.
How I
like
feel about this one thing.
He's the all vibes president. I just feel vibes. They're usually wrong, but he feels vibes.
Well, and also the guy's like 80 years old and he doesn't know what planet he's on. I mean, people give the last president crap for being old, but like, I mean, come on, he's also old. And there might have been a time he might have had a dream, or he might have been like yelling at the TV one day watching a Giants game and actually thought that he was talking to Dayball because he's like, you know, probably has dementia at this point. But yeah, it's damn it, Trump. I wanted you to be right this one time.
Oh well.
I really did.
Broken clock. All right, let's go to commercials. Speaking of the Giants, I'm excited to see this because I remember this Super Bowl and watching the season and how great it was.
I pulled this because I figured this, Mike.
Yeah.
We're pumped up. We got new blood on the team. They got the best player in the draft. They got their QB. You know, everyone's kind of like, let's ride. The day after the draft, it was fun. And so it's fun to talk about what you just said, the glory days. It's fun to go back to a time where, hey, maybe we could experience this again one day.
Yeah, so this is a vintage spot from 1991 about the New York Giants in the Super Bowl. So let's take a look.
Let's do it.
The Giants led by a single point. 8 seconds remain. The stage was set for a heart-stopping finish in what would become the greatest Super Bowl ever. And now, Sports Illustrated lets you relive the Giants' most exciting season ever on True Blue. Giants steps to the Super Bowl, highlighting all 16 regular season games, the playoffs, and the Super Bowl.
Oh my God, I love this.
With your paid subscription to America's
this is
#1 sports magazine.
I'm just pleased we got off to a 3-0 start.
Just completed by NFL Films. It's over 50 minutes of power football.
See half play, 42-8.
Explosive offense.
Touchdown below! Way down to Baker, baby! Touchdown! Oh, James, the goal line, touchdown!
And devastating defense.
Hickman back inside the 5, throws, tipped high, intercepted by Taylor, he'll score! Big rush, steps up and throws, intercepted!
Call to order or renew for the free video, plus sports as only Sports Illustrated can deliver. At over 50% off the cover price. You can pay by credit card and enjoy 23 weeks of in-depth coverage and revealing profiles that show you the people underneath the padding, including the baseball preview and the 91 swimsuit issue.
Ooh.
Yes.
Recall the turning points.
Misogyny.
Did I even still exist anymore?
I think it does. I
I
think it's only digital though.
Oh, okay.
Against the Niners, I remember that. I remember watching it with my grandparents in my living room, jumping in the
$9.89 Just put it on your credit card.
Oh, were you back then about 9?
9, yeah. It was the 90 season and the Super Bowl was in 91, so I was 9 going on 10. That's
all right. Very, very young.
4th grade, yeah. There it is, famous. That's the famous shot. That's so okay.
There's a lot to unpack here, and the reason why. No, doesn't it make you happy? Doesn't this kind of pump you up between this and the draft? Doesn't it kind of just pump you up a little bit?
I'm ready.
It does. We're ready for fall already, even though we have to live through an awesome summer because we're baseball guys and I'm a beach guy.
Yeah, it's the thing. Like those are the Giants I rooted for. That was the fun, and this Giants team now it's like and it's like you see this, it's like Giants,
ever since that second, Oh, dude, flat top. I always have to point out the flat top, even if we already did that 2 minutes ago. But
old school look, yeah.
Ever since that second time they took down Brady and the Patriots, they've been basically terrible for a full decade now at this point. More than that, really. They had one victory. But yeah, this is so fun to watch because, you and I, we love the vintage stuff. And I know you saw most of this live, so it's weird to call it vintage, but
Mhm.
I just there's so many things you can point out about the differences between the early 90s sport and what we have now.
Right.
The one that jumped out at me is you see the helmets they're wearing where they actually say Giants. They don't
Yeah.
wear those that often anymore. They mostly wear the NY with the underline now. And that's one thing that always jumps out at me when I see the old Giants footage. Is the Giants helmets. I like them.
The NY was their old look back in, I guess, the 60s prior to the 20s or wherever they started putting logos on helmets. So they've worn that look the most. But, for me, I born in the 80s, 81, and this is the Giants I knew.
That was the Giants you knew.
And now, look at the Jets. They went to their Jets. See, the Jets went back to their old uniforms. The funny thing is when Parcells took over the Jets, he said, we're wearing the Super Bowl uniforms from 69 because that's when you guys won. 69. So, but those green Jets uniforms were associated with losing so much. And now they brought them back because now they're classic. Well, this Giants uniform is vintage now. Huh?
That was the Sack Exchange uniforms too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So
And then they had a little black in the lining layer. Yeah. So
the other thing too that jumps out at me is that, remember, the NFL, and a lot of people from the current generation don't remember this, but NFL wasn't the main sport in the country until like 20, 30 years ago. So when you look at a lot of these old footage, there's a lot of single level stadiums that these games are taking place in. You can point out a few actually in this ad if you look closely. And also too, remember the Giants, didn't they play in Yankee Stadium for like a number of years when the NFL first started too?
Back up until the 70s, they played in Yankee. Well, I think they started in the Polo Grounds and played with the baseball Giants, and then they moved to Yankee Stadium. I have to check that about the Polo Grounds, but they played at Yankee Stadium forever. So they were the Bronx. They were never New York team forever.
So exactly. The point I'm making is that nowadays every single team has these like brand new, except for the Giants and Jets, of course, because we've got the most embarrassing stadium in the whole league. You look at some of these new stadiums that are going up, like the one that the Colts has, that big brick one, the one that Minnesota has, LA, of course, and the NFL, I was about to say arenas, stadiums, they are some of the craziest pieces of architecture of the last 100 years, if you really look at it. But then you only have to go back 25 years, 30 years, and you see these extremely bland, sometimes single level stadiums, and you can feel the sort of outdatedness of them,
Yeah, it wasn't until like the mid to late 80s, early 90s that football started taking over in basketball, and that's you started seeing a down.
Like right here, this one. That is a single. That's a single level.
It looks that way, right? The top was like all utility started or whatever, but old football. and they those. I mean, what was I going to say? The ground, some of those
right there,
stadiums,
right there. That's a single level.
Well, that was in Tampa Bay. Yeah, totally. Yeah. So the turf stadiums, you were playing on top of concrete essentially. It was turf, concrete on pretty much. And a lot of guys were getting hurt. So
and also look at that single. I don't know. I don't know the name for this, so don't beat me up, hardcore football fan. The single
for the kicker,
like the single bar helmets.
Scott Norwood. That's the guy.
You could just reach in and grab those too. That's one of the reasons I think why they don't make those anymore.
Matt Barr. So that's Matt Barr, number 9. The Giants had Matt Barr and Sean Landetta, and then this is Scott Norwood, who we want to have as a guest one day on the other side of the ball.
Oh,
he missed this field goal and the Giants won 20-19. So we want to hear his side of the story if he's mentally healthy enough to tell it. These guys probably went through hell after that loss.
You think about it, he was he's probably only 60 something now.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are all in their 20s in the 90s, so they're probably not like old.
Yeah. So this is nice. This was fun. The phones are open 24/7.
I wonder if you were to call that number. What that number is now? It's probably like a naughty chat line or something, or it goes to like a scammer in India or something.
You actually call Scott Norwood and you laugh at him.
That's his personal phone number. It's a 1-800 number. He's so lonely that he's willing to pay to hold a toll-free number.
We got one more. We got a Baltimore Orioles commercial you found? Is that what it is?
Yes, Yankees play the Orioles this week. They're in Baltimore right now as we speak. So I pulled up a fun old Orioles ad. Let's take a look at this.
Come on, Orioles. Let's get this thing going. Come on, Orioles.
Orioles, get the spirit.
There's a lot of white people in this commercial.
There's a lot going on here. You got the old lady on her porch yelling at them, the construction workers.
Yeah.
You got what looks like a special needs gas attendant. Not he's this one right here. Okay. I'm glad that they included that guy in here. You know.
I feel like this old lady was hot back in the day. I don't know why. Just something about her.
You say high or hot?
Hot. I feel like she had hot vibes back in the day.
Okay.
She had Doc Martens on. She looks a little edgy, you know. That's what I'm saying. I think.
So you're saying that, like, so this is made in the 80s or 90s, so like the 60s, she was your type. Is that what you're saying?
She's probably a babe back in the day. Yeah, I don't know. I just something about her. She gives off a I'm not as old and innocent as I look kind of vibe. So.
Oh man, this is fun though. A little guitar action. You got the. Well, I guess they're using these uniforms again, but these were the old uniforms. Yeah, and then they brought them back a few years ago.
Yeah. The sunglasses flip here by Cal Ripken is there.
Yes.
How many takes did that take? Is that a topless woman in the front row here? Wait a minute. Did I see that correctly? Wait a minute.
I hope so.
Oh, it's a yellow tank top. The lady in the front. That's low quality footage.
Oh, look, the sunglasses, the very front middle with like sunglasses on.
Yeah.
That would be great if they slipped somebody flashing in one of these commercials for like a half a frame and no one noticed till just you now. Maybe it's this old lady's niece. Okay, she went to the game and she really big Ripken fan. She had to show her tits to somebody.
This is child labor right here. So
child labor. That's true. You had you have a cop, a firefighter, finance bros. Again, the special needs gas attendant, the old retired lady.
These are the guys the Orioles would buy their Coke from in the 80s. I don't know. Just kidding. Yeah, that guy is. He's probably old by now. It's weird to look at commercials and see people young.
It's so weird because half the people in these commercials we watch, Mike, the 80s were 40 years ago. If people were in their 30s then, they're dead now. You know, like
they're gone.
You know. So R.I.P. to this poor woman that Mike is talking about. He wants to posthumously smash because she's dead now. She's looking down on this from heaven right now. She's looking down at us, being like, "Who are these two jackasses?" And what's YouTube? Actually, no, they've got YouTube in heaven. Okay, what am I mean?
They got beyond YouTube in heaven. We can look at anything from any time at any place at any.
They got Verizon Fios. They have everything. Yeah. Okay, they've got everything you could want in heaven.
These are union guys off the clock. Hopefully, let's not cheat, fellas. Let's. Even that little girl, she's in her 90s now. That's how old.
Oh, she's probably. Well, no. Let's say she's 6 or 7. Yeah, she's probably a little older than us. Well,
she's got to be in her late 30s. She's
got to be in her. Yeah. No, dude. The 80. Well, did you say what year this was on the video?
I mean, this looks like late 80s to me.
I think this is 87. So this woman's right exactly your age, probably, or maybe like a year or two older. So she's probably like pushing 50, maybe mid 40s now.
I would say around 40, late 30s. That's my guess.
Yeah.
We'll call the casting director. I didn't even really know who was on the Orioles back then. It was Eddie Murray, yes. Cal Ripken.
That was before my time.
Jeffrey Leonard, I guess. I don't know. He was a baseball card I had of it.
Was it before, was Jimmy Key on the team yet? Because wasn't he on the Orioles before the Yankees?
No, Blue Jays. Kirk Skilling was an Oriole. He was a rookie with the Orioles. There's Billy Ripken. The famous, you know the story of the baseball bat on the baseball card with Billy Ripken? Please tell, and we'll end there today. I think I want to tell it, but I almost feel like we need to save it for a whole episode.
All right, because you know what? Then that'll be a teaser for another week.
The Billy Ripken episode. We got to do that. Yeah,
we will. All right. Well, in that case, this has been fun as always, Mike. I will talk to you. Actually, I don't know if I'm on next week. I hope I will be, but if not, then have fun with Brian next week.
Right on.
All right. Peace, man. Later.
Peace.